You know, it's really something to be said for the brave men and women who take an oath and have sacrificed their lives for our freedom. And it really makes you wonder what what the reason they're fighting for in the first place is the indecisions and indiscretions of the leaders of the free world in the first place. Who's made Putin and China so powerful? Us, Americans, and greed, and folks like Trump who've basically taken us back 100 years. Instead of us focusing on the next vaccine for this pandemic or how to cure cancer and how to make this planet cleaner and reverse global warming, brave men and women are being now sent off to war to fight a war that could have been stopped in the first place had our government and our country unified behind the ideas and principles that made us great in the first place, and realize that the fossil fuel industry just fuels people like Putin. It just and it not having the the sense as a country to change things so that we're not dependent on oil and gas, and so that the whole world isn't so dependent on oil and gas, would thwart this kind of thing from happening in the first place. So when I was a kid, I remember close friends of mine and my family coming back from Vietnam. Some of them didn't have all their limbs, telling me, man, they went to go fight a war that shit really shouldn't have happened in the first place. Now, yeah, I mean, we had to defend ourselves during World War II, and sadly, even that was facilitated by the greed and it's a sad thing to think about war and all that. And I always aspired to be the Native American and stand on the side of indigenous peoples and look at all the problems that the Western world has made for indigenous peoples, as opposed to being the quote unquote cowboy American. You're fighting a war for who and for what? For whose ideals and for what in the first place? When you think about it, it's sad, and there's no perfect culture. I mean, there's been indigenous cultures that were pretty much in the wrong way too, but not so much when you look at the Iroquois and Shenandoah Confederacy, and a lot of the nomadic tribes of the Sioux and the Plains Indians, who were for the most part peaceful and had actually established a democracy long before Europeans actually came to America. So, as a kid, I always wanted to defend my country and I always believed that wherever you lay your hat's your home. But I was hesitant to go and enlist. One, knowing that I might not have been accepted because of my medical history, even though that probably wouldn't have disqualified me, but more so in that, why would I want to go off and fight a war that I had nothing to do in the first place? I didn't support any of the Trump administration's decisions whatsoever that has led up to this fueling Russia's, you know, dementia. I mean, it looks like Putin hit the bottle of vodka the other night and decided, oh, I'm just going to go after Ukraine. What a sick fuck. So yeah, my heart goes out to all the brave men and women who are now being deployed to Germany and to Poland. Like my uncle Joe, he was in the army. It's like a second father to me, and he told me that he was during the Cold War in a tank, and they had to go right up to the border there in Poland, and just sit there in a tank, like in a standoff. And I just as a kid, I was saying, man, like damn, that's kind of fucked up. And for what? You know, look at the government. Look at this government's done to people like me who use marijuana, ganja. You know, I don't even smoke it really. I just ingest it, you know, from my medical dispensary. But look what they did to people like me. You know, they wanted to put me in jail for that. You know, and you know, this is my country. I'm supposed to fight for what ideals exactly? You know, and you know, it just blows my mind how anyone could support the Republican administration at all, especially now. You know, it's like what kind of idiots and imbeciles think that climate change is a hoax, or that we shouldn't ban outright this destructive mining and fossil fuels. I mean, sure, everything is built on petroleum, and pretty much every single thing, all this plastic, everything is from petroleum. But at what point do you have to put responsibility and morals aside, you know, to realize profit, and ignore the greater good? You know, to go off and start fighting wars that were planted and seeded on fighting for fossil fuels. It's just sick and it's wrong. And if we come together as a country and we tax the billionaires around the world, and make it mandatory that things are electric, you'll watch how quickly China and make sure that things are manufactured in the USA, and not China, and you know, and make sure that any country that does want to, you know, manufacture products for us adhere to our human rights principles. You'll watch how quickly those countries will decline, even more so than any type of sanctions. So yeah. Anyway. This is Politics with Ali. Go fund me. Thank you.